So, pronouns. Like I said, we use them a lot. So even if you didn't know they were called that, you've probably used them maybe even today. Pronouns are words that take the place of nouns. So they, instead of saying a person, a place, or a thing, you use a pronoun. We use them in writing so that we don't have to keep repeating ourselves. And I'll give you an example. Okay? If you were writing, or even if you're talking, and you were telling a story, telling about what happened in the morning. Let's say that you said, Alexa had breakfast, and Alexa ate cereal for breakfast. Alexa really likes Lucky Charms, but Alexa was out of Lucky Charms. So Alexa had to have Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So if you notice in that story, you had to keep saying Alexa, 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 Alexa. We use pronouns, that way we don't have to keep saying that. We use pronouns like she. So if I was telling that story or writing that story, say Alexa ate breakfast this morning, she had cereal. So I don't have to keep saying her name over and over and over again. And it's not just in cases like that. We use it for tons of things. If I went to Walmart, so let's continue on with that story. If Alexa was out of Lucky Charms, she would obviously want more because she loves Lucky Charms. So Alexa would go to Walmart. And again, I don't want to keep saying Alexa, so I would say she went to Walmart to buy more cereal. Now I don't want to keep saying Lucky Charms either. So I could say Walmart didn't have it. So I would use the pronoun it instead of Lucky Charms. Or if I didn't want to keep saying Walmart, I could say or use the pronoun they. They were out of it. And even though I'm using pronouns like she and they and it, you can still understand the story. You know it's Alexa that wants the Lucky Charms. You know it's Walmart that she went to. And you know it's Lucky Charms she was looking for. Oh, so I was close. I was just off with the time. It was last night, not this morning. So here's an example. Okay, the sentence is Mrs. Lopez gave the hall pass to Mia. And they used some shells here. And instead of using the nouns, they used pronouns. She gave it to her. So if this was part of a story, we don't want to keep saying Mrs. Lopez, Mrs. Lopez, Mrs. Lopez, or the hall pass, the hall pass, the hall pass, the hall pass, or Mia, 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 Mia. We would start using those pronouns. She gave it to her. And if I read that sentence, it still makes sense. It's not broken or missing anything because I'm not using those nouns. Pronouns don't break the sentence. So we're going to practice here. Okay, Jaylene. We're going to practice here. Joey likes to play the guitar. Joey likes to play the guitar. Which of my shells, which one of my pronouns could I use instead of Joey? Haley, which one of my pronouns could I use instead of Joey?
He.
Okay, he. I'm going to drag he over here. He likes to play the guitar. Okay. What if I wanted to replace guitar? What pronoun could I use? Yeah, you can follow along on yours. What pronoun could I use instead of guitar? He likes to play what? I have my choices here. What pronoun could I use instead of guitar? Ezekiel, what do you think? Which one of my pronouns could I use instead of guitar?
She.
So he likes to play she. Would that make sense there?
No.
No. I want to replace the guitar with the pronoun. What could I use? He likes to play what? We said not she. I'm going to move that away. We have him, it, they, or her. Yes, Chase. Go ahead and do it. What do you think, Ezekiel? He likes to play. Which one of these would make the most?
It.
It. He likes to play it. And if I write that sentence down here at the bottom, he likes to play it, the sentence is still okay. It didn't break. It doesn't all of a sudden not make sense anymore. It's still fine. He likes to play it. Because again, if I was going to write a story and I was talking about Joey and a guitar a lot, I wouldn't want to keep saying Joey, 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 or guitar, 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 guitar. Let's look at this next sentence. Do you know where Mom put my backpack? Do you know where Mom put my backpack? What about Mom? If I wanted to replace Mom with a pronoun, what pronoun could I use instead of Mom? Do you know where... Brianna, what do you think? She. She would be a good one to use here. Do you know where she put... What if I want to replace my backpack? What if I want to use a pronoun here? What pronoun's the best one to use at the end of the sentence? Nakai?
Um, I didn't get to finish the other sentence. But I think I know what it is. I think it is Tilly.
Which one?
For backpack?
And which one do you think it is? We have him, he, they, or sorry,
Clearing.
they, it, or her.
The top one next to it.
Do you know where she put they? Does it make sense there?
No.
No.
It.
It. They would make sense if it was more than one thing. If it was really more than one person, is when we use they. When it's a group of people. But we don't have a group of people, we just have one item. So it makes the most sense here. Do you know where she put it? Question mark. And the sentence still makes sense. Do you know where she put it? And again, we use those pronouns to keep ourselves from using repetition. Yeah, we're doing part of it together, Jaylene, and then in the later slides, I'm going to give you some time to do it on your own, and then we'll check our sentences together. Violet, make sure we're not just typing out answers in the chat, baby. Make sure you have your camera on, and if you have an answer choice, you can either raise your hand or type me into the chat. That way I know that
Can you go back up to number 4 so I can copy it?
Our next sentence. Hadley is taller than Patrick. Hadley is taller than Patrick.
Mr. Romero,
Yes, sir.
I'm ready on number 8.
Okay. Jadine, if I want to replace Hadley, what pronoun should I replace Hadley? Which one of my shells should I use? She. Okay. And what if I want to replace Patrick? What pronoun should I use instead of Patrick? Christopher?
Him.
Him. So instead of Hadley is taller than Patrick, I could say she is taller than him. And like I said, we're used to using pronouns when we talk, when we speak. It's just we might not have known they were called pronouns. Okay. Number 7.
I think I'm gonna finish some.
Once you have the shells in place, Nakai, you can just copy them from your sentence. The sentence for slide 7. Mia and Troy love to eat cake. Mia and Troy love to eat cake. There's really one group, but I want to replace Mia and Troy. What could I use to replace Mia and Troy? Alexa.
She.
I could use she to replace Mia, but I can't use she to replace Troy. I want one pronoun that will replace both of them. Kaylee.
Him and her.
I could use him and her. Him and her love to eat cake, but I also want to try to make my sentence a little shorter. So I want a pronoun that can replace both of them and make my sentence a little shorter. Violet, what do you think?
They.
I could use they. If I use the pronoun they, I can replace Mia and Troy with just one word. They love to eat cake. Now again, I could use him and her love to eat cake. But if I can make the sentence shorter, then it's not a bad reason to. Because I'm already not using their names, Mia and Troy. Because again, I might be saying Mia and Troy, Mia and Troy, Mia and Troy, Mia and Troy. And I don't want to keep saying it over and over again. I want to keep my writing easy to understand, and I want to make it a little simpler on myself. Slide 8. Mr. Gonzalez gave the pencil to Jake. Mr. Gonzalez gave the pencil to Jake. If I want to replace Mr. Gonzalez, what pronoun would I replace Mr. Gonzalez with? Jadine? What do you think, Jadine? What pronoun would I replace Mr. Gonzalez with? He. Okay. And what if I want to replace pencil? Yes, Christopher.
I already finished all the way up to 11.
Okay, Christopher. What if I want to replace pencil? Kylie, what would I replace pencil with?
It.
It. And if I write my sentence, Mr. Gonzalez, or sorry, not Mr. Gonzalez anymore, we replaced it. He gave the pencil, instead of the pencil, we replaced it with it to Jake. Yes, Jaylene.
The tab on my computer,
Mm-hmm.
it keeps on loading, so right now I can't do it. I have to wait.
Okay. If you want, Jaylene, leave the call for a little bit and it'll load a little bit faster. And then once it's loaded, you can come back in.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of time, 3 or 4 minutes. I want you to try the next 3 sentences, 9, 10, and 11. I want you to try those 3 sentences, replacing words with the pronoun, and then we'll check them, like I said, in about 3 or 4 minutes. So go ahead and try working on these 3 sentences for 9, 10, and 11. And like we said, if it's it, that's for only one, but it says the dogs with an S, which means it's plural. So we had to use they there. They are tired instead of the dogs are tired. What about this? The bird and the bug sat on the tree. I could replace the bird and the bug, and I could replace tree. What could I use to replace the bird and the bug? Kylie?
They.
They again, because I'm talking about 2 things. The bird and the bug. What if I wanted to replace tree? Noah, what pronoun would I use to replace tree?
It.
It. Because it's just one tree, not more than one. So they sat on it. And what about this one? Riley and Alex handed the apples to Jonathan. I want to replace Riley and Alex, and I want to replace Jonathan. If I replace Jonathan, what pronoun would I use to replace Jonathan? Kaylee, what pronoun would replace Jonathan?
Him.
Him. It's just one person, just Jonathan. Not Jonathans, there's not 3 Jonathans. And what if I wanted to replace Riley and Alex? Jaylene?
They.
They. They handed the apples to Jonathan. And instead of Jonathan, we replaced it with him. They handed the apples to him. Okay. When you finish and you have all of your sentences written down, you have the shells moved where they belong, go ahead and make sure that you turn it in.